The Monster of Canterlot, Chapter 43. Celestia, Luna, and I all sat in Celestia's room. Well, isn't the right word. We were actually all laying on her bed. I was using Celestia's barrel as a pillow and her wing as a blanket. I don't care what you think, her feathers and fur are softer than any mattress or comforter. Rocky, however, was curled up between Luna's shoulders, snoring louder than any critter that small has a right to. So, Luna has told me that you were injured during your trip to Ponyville. Care to tell me about it? She had to have been talking about when I cut my palms with my own fingernails. I wanted to hide it from her, but Celestia could always tell when I was lying. I've been getting angry lately. Not all the time, I quickly defended myself. Only when somebody challenges me or calls me a monster. I mean, I almost fought a bear because he was in my way. The worst part about it is that I lose control completely and black out. I'm worried that I'll hurt somebody and not be able to stop myself. I see, Celestia said as she locked eyes with her sister, a knowing expression on both their faces. I've been worried about this for a while now. It would seem that your alicorn instincts are taking hold. My what? Alicorn instincts, Christopher, and they are not something to be taken lightly, Luna warned. Indeed. What's worse, each alicorn has a different trigger that can't be predicted until they manifest themselves. For me, it was my envy over sister receiving adoration for her days, while the pony slept through my nights. I know better now, of course, Luna smiled at Celestia, but the damage had been done, and Nightmare Moon had taken hold of me. Yes, and every day I thank the stars that you were able to come home to us, Luna, Celestia told her. For me, it was when I thought I had lost you. Her wing tightened around me as she fought back a tear. I'd always wanted a child of my own. Then I was given you. She nuzzled me affectionately. So when that wretched queen had done what she did, I just couldn't handle it. So you're saying that if I'm not careful, then at any moment I could snap and lash out against our citizens or worse yet, my friends and or family? I deflated and wanted to curl up into a tiny little ball on my mother's grasp. I miss being mortal. No pony ever said that being powerful didn't come at a cost, Luna pointed out. But no, we aren't saying that. What we are saying is that if you know what the trigger is, you can prepare yourself to combat these instincts. Exactly right. And it seems to me that your trigger is one that has plagued you since you arrived here. I looked up into Celestia's magenta eyes with a questioning expression. She kissed my forehead and smiled a forced smile. Your issue is with some ponies still not accepting you, and therefore challenging your position. At least, in your subconscious they are. So, how do I bottle it up, lock it away, hold it back? That is the wrong way to go about this. An alicorn's instincts are as much a part of them as their own wings. You cannot deny a part of your own being. Well said, Luna. No, what you need to do is learn how to focus on something else when you feel it coming. For example, whenever I feel my envy building, or I feel unappreciated as my subjects sleep through my night that I work so hard on, I remember one single point that was explained to me. What's that, Aunt Luna? That ponies can only sleep through my night because it makes them feel safe and calm, secure enough to drop their cards as low as it is possible to do so, and sleep. But what benefit does my being different offer? I thought about it hard, but I couldn't think of anything right off the top of my head. What about fair Fluttershy? Luna asked. Well, yeah, there's her, but wait, we haven't even had a date yet, and I didn't tell any pony here. How did you know about that? I am the mistress of dreams, and you should see what her dreams entail. Luna, you know better than to expose dreams of others, Celestia chastied before she racked both her front legs and wings before she started to roll around on the bed. And now you're dating Fluttershy? Oh, I'm so happy for you. I was helpless as she flung me back and forth. I only managed to speak when I came to rest, temporarily, on the bed. Mom, we haven't even had our first date yet. Could you please stop? All eyes were wide and on me. What was that? I whispered, trying to make sure it didn't happen again. It would seem as though you also developed your own Royal Canterlot voice, Luna informed me, as while she tried to calm Rocky down. Celestia rubbed her ear in an effort to get the rain to stop. So it would seem. Now we just have to teach you to control it as well. Yes, please. Sooner rather than later, I said as I rubbed my own ears, finally free from Celestia's hug. Perhaps we can work on that tomorrow, as I must tend to my nightly duties. Besides, Christopher, I am certain Sister is eager to hear about everything that happened in Ponyville, Luna said as she stood from Celestia's bed and left the room. Rocky leapt from her back, landed on a pillow, curled up, and quickly fell asleep. Luna's right. I want to know everything. Celestia was acting like a school filly. She actually spun and flopped on the bed so as to face me directly, like a child would do with their mother at the good part of a story. Spill it! I did. I told her about my flight lessons, told her of my run-in with Derpy and meeting her daughter, Dinky. She was very interested in hearing about my studies with Twilight. Celestia even laughed about Rainbow knocking my cloud out from under me. The thing she was most intrigued about, however, were my dreams. So, you take down that bitch? She spat the word like the single syllable had offended her. Then you're in a meadow with Fluttershy. A smile spread across her lips. And she's a human? Well, kind of. At first she was purely human, but each time she becomes more pony-like. Now that is interesting. I swear, that smile of hers can speak more volumes than the Encyclopedia Equestria, with the complete collection of all 12 volumes of A Study of the Magics of Equus by Starswirl the Bearded. Mom, no meddling, I'm warned. She raised one forehoof and placed the other over her heart. I swear, no meddling, tampering, or interfering of any kind. She then lowered her hooves. Honey, you know I want nothing more than your happiness. Yeah, I know that. I stood from the bed and turned toward the door. Well, I think it's time to turn in. And just where do you think you're going? She said as she grabbed my shirt with her magic. To my room? I don't think so, young colt. Get back here! I couldn't help but chuckle at her antics as I was thrown back onto the bed next to her. She nuzzled me and said, I already miss you so much when you're gone. So please, just give me this one night. Alright, Mom. One night. But if I do ever get married, this bed is going to start to feel pretty crowded. With a final laugh, Celestia turned out the lights, and we went to sleep. The next few days, I was training and practicing as much as I could. Willow would be in the air with me, though I will admit I was a little unnerved by a unicorn with bug wings. It helped that I knew her so well and knew she wouldn't do anything to hurt any pony. Also, Bunny was on the ground with refreshments and a first aid kit at the ready. In the afternoon, I would be with Celestia. She was teaching me to control my voice and to keep my alicorn instincts in check. She even enlisted the help of Blue Blood, as she couldn't bring herself to insult me like he willingly does. The only good part about that was when I would accidentally use my voice on him. Soon enough, I was back in Ponyville. Fluttershy and the other elements had led the Breezies all the way back to their home and returned home themselves. Today, Fluttershy, Rainbow Dash, and Bulk Biceps were practicing for the quickly approaching Equestria Games in the Crystal Empire. I was going to be there to cheer them on and support them while I could. After all, during the games I would not be able to cheer as loudly. Foreign relations and all. You're doing great, every pony, I offered as I handed out cups of water and towels. I have no doubt you guys will have no problem placing, maybe even winning. Placing? No problem, Rainbow boasted. Winning? Not likely. Come on, Dash. Think positively. Right, Rocky? The little flying squirrel danced on my head while waving tiny pom-poms around and squeaking. Fluttershy giggled. That's right, Rocky. We have to try our best, no matter what our chances may be. Both Biceps agreed. Loudly. Fluttershy trotted up to me and took the bottle and sat back on her haunches as she happily drank. I knelt down and gently wiped the sweat from her forehead and under her wings. I stayed away from her flanks, which took a lot of restraint. Believe me. You're doing very well today, Fluttershy. I heard about the trouble you had during the tornado incident a while back. I'm very proud of your improvement. Well, I have somebody very important to me cheering me on. She hid behind her mane and blushed heavily. It was about the cutest thing I've ever seen. I couldn't help but rub behind her ear. She leaned into my hand and closed her eyes. We haven't even been on our first date yet, and already she's this affectionate. It kind of reminded me of a clingy puppy, only much softer and cuter. To be honest, I had always wanted Rose to be more like this when we were dating. I only hoped it wouldn't become a problem. Though many stallions or some mares who was familiar with her model work would know that could never happen. Tell you what, Flutters, after you're done with practice, you and I go out for dinner? Her response was to bury her face deeper into her mane, whimper a little, and nod. I chuckled at her behavior. How could any pony be more embarrassed by a date than all the cuddling she just did? Excellent. Come on, Fluttershy. We've got more work to do. And unless your cool friend is going to be competing with us, you're going to have to let him go. She's right, Fluttershy? She was too busy shaking and muttering. Oh, way to go, Dash. You broke her. Seriously? Fine. Just take her home. She won't be up for any more practice today. It's just as well. We're almost done anyway. Alright, I'll just take her home then. Okay, but no funny business. She can't fly as fast if you get her pregnant. That made Fluttershy curl up even more and shake even harder. You can stop that any time now, I growled at Rainbow Dash. She merely laughed her head off and flew away after dodging a low-level blast that I fired toward her, fully intending to miss anyway. I then scooped up the trembling Pegasus and headed off toward her home. Once at her cottage, I opened the door and took her inside. Then I took her into the bathroom and placed her on the floor and started the water in the tub. Alright, I'll leave you to it then. I'll be downstairs waiting. It's true she didn't ask for a bath, but I knew enough about females to know they didn't like to leave sweat all over their bodies. I also knew that a nice warm bath could calm the nerves better than just about anything. Oh, while you're in there, would you like me to make some tea? I could just barely make out some splashing from inside. If you don't mind, I would like that very much. Okay, but be warned, I'm still new to cooking of any kind. I heard a small giggle. I'm sure we'll be fine. Maybe you can get Angel to help you. Yeah, I sighed. Maybe. Surprisingly, Angel did decide to help out, but only after he accidentally dropped the tea kettle on my foot. All it took was some very careful explaining that I was trying to make the tea for his mistress to help her calm down. I managed to get the tea service ready just in time for Fluttershy to come out of the washroom, mane still wrapped and robe tied on. It smells lovely. Good, I'm glad to hear that. Truth be told, it's all thanks to your little buddy here. I nodded towards Angel, knowing better than to try to touch the little rodent. Come, take a seat, and I'll give a nice massage. I'm sure that after all the work you put in your training today, you could use one. Okay. Fluttershy crawled onto the couch while I pulled over an ottoman for myself. Leaning over that much for too long hurts. Do you want to leave the robe on, or take it off? I think I would prefer to leave it on. Damn it. For now, anyway. I could work with that. Alrighty then. I cracked my knuckles. Now, let's get to this. For almost an hour, I rubbed, pressed, and prodded different muscle groups on her back, legs, and neck. My efforts awarded me a series of oohs and ahs, and one or two moans that made me blush. It made me want to keep going all night, but fingers aren't quite as sturdy as hooves, so I had to stop. Feel better? I asked. Fluttershy responded with a drawn-out, mm-hmm. Good. There's still some daylight left. Want to grab some dinner down at the Gilded Truffle? I could tell by the brief panic that flashed across her face that was a no. Or would you prefer the cafe? She nodded and hummed a little. Alright, then it's settled. First, you're going to have to change. And that was how my first date with Fluttershy started.